Hello, everybody. My name is David L. Rogers. I also go by DL. Welcome to the 1090 podcast. Welcome to the 1090 podcast. So, our episode today is just going to be me answering questions that I've received from my email mailbox from some of my clients that I personal train, or some of my business clients. Some of the questions they ask me based on things I say to them during our interaction, especially during my personal training sessions, because I'm always trying to figure out how to motivate each client, because each client is different. Each person motivates in a different way. So based on what we talk about, I listen to what they say, and I try to figure out ways to give them that external motivation. So I'm just going to answer some of the questions out of my box. So you're going to see me on my iPhone. Basically, that's what I'm doing. I'm just looking at some of the questions I pulled from that box. Disclaimer, just remember, we're not perfect. This is just our opinion and words of experience of knowledge we receive from other people. So we're not an expert at anything. We're just trying to share information in case somebody in life has experienced something similar. They know it's not just them going through this by themselves, that there's other people that have experienced similar situations, or something they may hear that helps them get through a situation, or something they may want to pass on to somebody else. So that's our goal for this 1090 podcast. Excuse me, the allergies are kicking in already. All right, so the first question I pulled from the mailbox is this: why do you say you are from Roxborough like it's a great big city? That's a great question. Well, Roxborough, it is not a great big city, but no matter where you was born at, that's where it all started for you and your life story. That's where it started at. So mine started in Roxborough, North Carolina. It's a small town in between South Boston and Durham, North Carolina. And I'm proud of where I'm from. Had a great family, and life was simple. You went to school, you worked, you ate good, you played good, had good friends, you went to church. And that's where I learned a lot of my life lessons from my grandparents, my mother, my father, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. So that's how I learned to be me. That's how it all started. That's the foundation. So I'm proud of where I'm from. I hope everybody's proud of where they're from. And it doesn't matter where you're from, it's where you're going. I get that, but you have to have that foundation to understand that that's your foundation. So that's why I tell people I am from Roxborough, North Carolina. But that's a great question there. All right, let's go on to the next question. Why have you worked for the government for so many years? That's a good question also, because I'm going on over 38 years in federal and state government, and I have a lot of people that's in their 20s and 30s and ask me that question: why would you work a job for almost 40 years? Well, and I always answer the question like this, and unless you a billionaire or a millionaire, or you living with somebody that's paying all your bills, you're gonna have to work a job in your life, and you're gonna have to work until you can get Social Security or get a retirement. So my way of thinking was to work a job where I can get a retirement, have money after I retire. That was my goal. So you can do it any way you want to. You can work thousands of jobs just to get Social Security, but I was focused on the retirement and the benefits. I've had 2 hip replacements. I've torn both of my left and right Achilles, had all of them repaired, and I found out the importance of medical insurance. If you don't have it, that's a whole lot of money that you got to pay. So I like working a government job, and also, I love a job like you get a lot of leave time. So when you on leave, whether I'm in St. Martin's, I'm in Florida, I'm still getting paid while I'm on vacation. I've had a job in the past when I used to be a bricklayer. You only got paid when you work. So if you put in 40 hours worth of work, you got paid for 40 hours. If you only work 10 hours, you only got paid for 10 hours. So that government job allowed me to be able to have benefits, and also have a retirement plan and many other things, like you get to travel and things like that. But that's the main reason I stayed with the same job. Was it always easy? Oh no, I want to quit a whole lot of times. We have a lot of conversations, or I have a lot of conversations with different people, my clients or other people I'm talking to, and sometimes we work a job. It's not because we love the job, it's the circumstance we in where we have to work the job. So everybody don't get their dream job. If you work in your dream job, that's a blessing. So but that's why I've worked with the government so long, the benefit package. But that's a great question. All right, let's go on to question number 3. You said you are 57 years old. What is the biggest thing that you have learned in those 57 years? Wow, that's a loaded question. There's a lot that happened in those 57 years. But I would say being 57, one of the greatest things life has taught me. Notice I said life because each day is different, each hour is different, sometimes each moment is different. But one of the greatest lessons that life has taught me is this: appreciate the moment. You know what I'm saying? You know, we always chasing something. I'm gonna do this so I can get to this goal. And then when you get to that goal, I'm gonna do this so I can get this. Or I'm gonna work this so I can get a car. I'm gonna do this so that I can be there. Then when I get there, I'm gonna get there. And every time you're trying to get somewhere else, you're never enjoying the moment that you're in right now. So I've learned as I've gotten older, quality time is what you make it. You know, I can sit in my house, bills paid, turn on Netflix, or just sit there and just look at the wall and see some of the things I have. That's quality time to me, and I enjoy that moment. You see what I'm saying? Because life is just like when you walk out that door, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to come back home at the end of the day. You don't know if somebody's going to tee you off that day. So I've learned to live in the moment. Stop stressing about stuff I cannot control. Once again, don't stress about stuff I cannot control. It does me no good. Because you can't change what people think. You can't change their opinion of you. You can only be the best person that you can be. So that's one of the things that I've really learned in life. Live in the moment. And it's hard to do sometimes, but you know, as you get older, you'll understand how that works. But that's a great question also. All right, moving on. You have 2 sons. What does that mean to you? Well, it means I have 2 sons that have 2 different personalities. One of my sons' name is Zachary. One name is Dorian. 2 totally different people. They both good kids, though. They never been in any real trouble. But when Zach was born, he's the oldest. I used to hear people say, you know, once you have a child, your life changes. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But your life does change because now you have to make a whole lot of sacrifices for that child, because that, first of all, that child did not ask to be here, and they're your responsibility until they get a certain age. So I had to learn to be more responsible. It wasn't just about me; it was about my kids, and I had a responsibility to provide for them. But it means a lot to me because, first of all, they carry on my name. Once I'm gone and left this world, they can still carry on my name. And you know, I love communicating with them because, like I say, they've done things in their 20s and now Zach in his 30s that I didn't even think about doing in my 20s and 30s. So, you know, I love to see that because each generation should progress from the previous generation, in my opinion. And a lot of times they motivate me to do things based on what I see them do because they go-getters. They don't sit around and wait for nobody to give them anything. They go out there and put in their work. I'm always about putting in their work. Once you put in their work, that's how you reach your level of success. Your workload and my workload might be totally different. Depends on what we're trying to do with our life for that success. But it's a blessing to have 2 sons. I know a lot of men want sons and have a son or can't have no kids at all. So it's a blessing. I think their mother and I have done a great job of raising them. And we can see the fruits of our labor and what they do in their life at this day. And I'm just proud of them every time I see them do something, man. It amazes me. But they're like 2 of my role models that I look up to. I'm older than them, but like I say, I believe in life. You got to be a life learner, and I learn from my sons every day. But I'm glad that when they just say the words dad, that means a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I was the greatest father ever, but I tried to be in their life. So that means a lot to me to have them as my sons. And I hope that answers your question. But I think they taught me how I had to grow up quick, and they also still teaching me at 57 years old. So that's a great thing. All right, you talk about remember your history. Absolutely, I'm a firm believer. If you don't know your history, it will repeat itself, and you won't have a clue what's going on. Things in life happen. I'm into the Bible, and it's amazing me. Things that's in the Bible have been around for centuries, and that stuff is still happening today. So you have to understand what's going on, what happened in the past, so you understand what's going on now. I was listening to somebody talk the other day about voting, and it was an inmate giving a speech about he'd been locked up for over 25 years, and he went to vote, and that was one of the most proudest things he's ever done in his life. And I know people take that for granted, don't vote, or the only time they vote is for the president. So, but if you understand your history, some states that's a privilege to vote, and a lot of people died and fought, so you had that right to vote. So you need to understand your history, so when things are going on, whether it's in your family or in your community, whatever, hey, this ain't right. And then when you have to vote on things, you understand what's going on, so you know what to vote for and who to vote for. So you have to understand your past, your history, so you can move forward and understand what's going on. So I'm a big proponent of that. I think you need to know that, because like I say, a lot of people sacrifice and die so I can sit here on this couch right here in what I call my palace and have all these things. Somebody had to sacrifice so I could do that. The job I have, black people couldn't even get in that job back in the 40s, 50s, and half of the 60s. And I'm in a position now where I'm telling people of different ages what to do. And people before me couldn't do that. I can go anywhere I want to. I can drink out of any water fountain I want to drink of. You know what I'm saying? I can get in my car and drive to any state I want to. But you got to be careful, because everybody don't have that same reality that this ain't the 40s and 50s. But my point is, if I want to go and get on a cruise, if I want to get on an airplane, I don't have to sit in the white section or black section. I can do that. But I have to understand that somebody sacrificed so I can be able to do that. I can buy, my wife and I own a home. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't get this in the neighborhood back in the day. You couldn't even get a loan to get it. So, I have a small business. You know what I'm saying? It's mine. Whether it does good or bad. Back in the day, people couldn't do that. So, in order for you to appreciate where you're at now, you have to understand your past and your history and what your ancestors and others done, so that you can be where you at. And it ain't based on just your black ancestors. So a lot of people, different races and nationalities and everything, that sacrificed and put in work so that all of us can sit here and be on the computer talking on a podcast or doing things we like to do. So that's why history is important to me. These are great questions. All right, why have a job working for the employer and you have your own business? Why have a job working for somebody else if I got my own business? Well, to be honest with you, I've always had two jobs. I've never had a job where I can say, I got enough money, I don't need no more money. I've never had that job. So working 2 and 3 jobs, as you know, the more you make, the more the RS or Uncle Sam is going to take. They're going to get their cut. So I just got tired of paying back taxes, and also I want to have something that I can leave my mark on. So, and I use my employer is the sponsor of my business, because that way if I mess it up, I still got a job. But I believe everybody should have their own business, whether it's a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, whatever you want to have. You should have something that belongs to you. It gives you a chance to bet on yourself, because your employer pays you a salary, in my mind, to kill your own dreams. But okay, they're gonna pay me a salary. I can use that give them a service as my personal contract to them, and I can also take that money I'm making them and invest in my dream or my vision. Well, once this becomes a dream, it becomes a action plan when you put it into action. So that's how I started my own business, because it gave me a chance to take the skills that I think I have, that I can have my dream job. That's what I would do, and this is how I would do it. I can only do it on a small scale now, but I still have a business. So I use the employer as a sponsor for my own business. That's my own personal thing. Now, if it gets to the point where I can take and just work for me, I'll let that roll. But right now, I like the way I have it. Because once again, when you work for yourself, you got to have an insurance pack. You got to have all these things you got to consider. So that's why I do both. But I recommend to anybody, if you have a job, especially if a job is not your dream job and you're working it and just sitting around saying, one day I'm going to get this great job. One day, man, you're going to look up, it's going to be 25 years old, you still saying that same song, one day. So instead of just waiting on them to make your opportunity, make your own opportunity and start your own business and work the job, and don't let the job work you. That's what that means when you work the job, don't let it work you. Make it work for what you want to do. We all work for a salary, but hey, it's 168 hours in a week. You can give them 40, 50. Look how much time you got to dedicate to your business. But you got to put that work in. A lot of people start a business, don't want to put in their work. And that's a dream. You got to put in their work to make it work. So that's why I do that. Great question. All right, let's see what the next question we got. Why are you always talking about helping the community? Why are you always talking about helping the community? Well, it goes like this. When I was raised in Roxboro, North Carolina, I can remember when I was like 5 or 6 years old. My mom and dad would work. We would go to my grandmother's house. My grandmother would take care of us over our aunts, her mother, her friends, and everybody was always trying to give you advice to help you. Back then, they gave us quarters, silver dollars. People that don't know what silver dollar is, they gave us money for picking up little weeds, picking apples, or something like that. And if you did something wrong, I'm gonna tell your dad, I'm gonna tell your mom. You might get popped by them, but they cared about each other and they helped each other out. What I see, in my own opinion, what I see in the world now is a lot of people that's all about just them. They don't care nothing about them. They don't even care nothing about some of their own family. So I believe in building our community. And when I say community, I don't just mean the street I live on. I mean people they could be 1,000 miles away, because this is the great thing about a podcast or social media. You can share positive things with people that's going through some things that it's nobody in their family or nobody in their neighborhood that can help them, but they see something that you do gives them that external motivation or confidence to do something. So I believe in building the community, which includes the church. I go to City Church here in Richmond, and I like one of the things they do is they do a lot of stuff in the community. When we pay our tithes, we can see that it goes to helping schools, it goes to helping families. They even got a refrigerator outside of the church where you can leave food and the homeless can come in and get food. I mean, stuff like that, man, that means a lot, because somebody once upon a time made a sacrifice for somebody in my family or somebody, and that caused me to be where I'm at today. So I believe in giving back to the community. And if we complain about the younger generation, they're gonna do what they know. If you're not giving them any information or no guidance, what you complaining about? You know what I'm saying? Give them a model to follow. Listen to them. You can learn from them, because like I said, I'm 57. Pretty soon somebody might have to be taking care of me when I go hospital or something like that. Guess who it's going to be? It's going to be that young person. So instead of talking about them, talk to them, work with them, or collaborate, whatever word you want to use. Work with them so we can build our communities. You know what I'm saying? A brother looking out for a brother, sister looking out for a sister, building our community. That's how it should be. Not us walking around like individuals. You get nothing accomplished like that. So that's why I believe in helping the community or doing my part. And everybody does that differently. Some people might like to go talk in the community, donate things. You got to find what your thing is. What's your purpose and do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like my oldest son, Zach, he's an educator. He's always in the school and he's talking to the kids. Dorian is like a political, that's going to be the next president of the United States, because he's out there in the community. He's out there on the front line. That's his thing. People do different things. So just find what your purpose is, and if you help one person, that person might help 10 people. So that's what I mean by the community. Great question. Can you tell us about a 1090 factor in your life thus far? All right, 1090 factor. Basically what the 1090 factor is, for those who don't know, 10% of things in life happen. 90% is how we decide to deal with that, whether we deal with it in a positive or negative manner. So my 1090 factor moment that I will talk about is this. I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years. I wanted to do 20 years in the Marine Corps. I had some personal stuff in my life and some